Good evening and welcome to our virtual open event for our postgraduate courses at Caffrey's Loughry campus in Cookstown. My name is Shane McKinney and I'm the head of our food education programs here at Loughry. I'm joined this evening by Teresa McCarney, and Teresa is our course manager for our postgraduate courses here at Caffrey. We're live on Facebook tonight from Loughry, so please feel free to send through any questions or queries you have through the comments function. And also please give us a thumbs up during the event to let us know that you're enjoying what you're hearing. We expect to be about 30 minutes or so in duration. And during that 30 minutes, we intend to provide you with all the information that you need to know about our postgraduate courses here, our Masters in Business for Agri-food and Rural Enterprise. You're going to hear from our current students and you're going to hear from some of the graduates from the programme as well about their experiences and how the programme has helped them with their careers to date. BAFRI, as it's known, is a collaborative arrangement between Caffrey and Queen's University Belfast. A collaborative arrangement that spans some 5 decades and builds on the best of both Caffrey's technical expertise in agri-food and rural enterprise, but also Queen's support and resources that they can provide for all of the students that are on the programme. So if you're interested in a career in agri-food or rural enterprise, and you're interested in progressing your study to the next level, well then you should give serious consideration to our Masters in Business for Agri-food and Rural Enterprise. Before we talk to Teresa in more detail about the programme itself, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about Caffrey. So Caffrey is the College of Agriculture, Food and Rural Enterprise, and we have 3 campuses, one at Greenmount, one at Enniskillen and here at Loughry. Our expertise at Loughry is very much focused upon food technology, but also postgraduate courses, formerly business communication and now locally known as the Business for Agri-food and Rural Enterprise programme. We have about 1,700 students in our programmes and we've got very, very strong and relevant links to all aspects of the industry. Of course, as a student on our programmes, you'll be spending some time at our campus here at Loughry in Cookstown, and it's important to give you a feel for some of the resources and the facilities that we have on campus. So I hope you enjoy this short video that we're going to play now to give you a better feel for some of the experiences you can expect to enjoy as a student with Caffrey. Good evening, Teresa, and thanks for joining us this evening. Teresa, I wonder to start off, there's lots of choice out there in terms of courses for postgraduate study, but what really makes this course stand out from all of the others?
Well, Shane, the unique thing about this programme is it's designed for those who wish to enter the agri-food and rural sector, or indeed those who are already working in the sector who want to progress their career. The people coming on the programme will already have a primary degree or some sort of technical qualification, but what we aim to do is develop their communication, their innovation skills and their leadership skills, so that when they get a management position in the industry, they're ready to make a change and take the industry forward.
Very good. And Teresa, the programme's very much focused on agri-food and rural enterprise, but how does that actually reflect itself in the content of the programme itself?
That's right. As I've noted there, the main themes we cover are actually communication and management and innovation, but all the modules we deliver are related to the agri-food and rural enterprise, and that we contextualise all our learning. The examples we used are all related to that industry. The assignments are all related to the industry, and in many cases we try to relate the assignments to the student's workplace so they can be of immediate benefit to the student. The staff who teach the programme have all got many years in the agri-food and rural enterprise industry. The students themselves bring a whole breadth of experience because they've all working in the industry, and they learn quite a lot from each other. And also the research project, it focuses very much on the agri-food and rural enterprise sectors, and students are able to identify a project that they were keen to progress within that sector.
Very good. And Teresa, you've spoken there about, some of the skills and the qualities, that the programme can help those who are studying on it to achieve and develop within the agri-food and rural business sectors. But what difference does this qualification really make to their careers, their career trajectory?
Yeah. Well, we've been running this programme for over 5 decades now in conjunction with Queen's University, so there's many graduates out there within the industry who have been on the programme. And the graduates tell us that there's many benefits to the programme. Those who've joined us straight from university, in many cases say they didn't feel they had the confidence to go straight into a management position in the industry. And this programme developed their skills, their interpersonal skills, and gave them that confidence so that they were able to go into the industry at that level. Others who are already working in the industry say that it improved their effectiveness in their role. It helped them gain promotion within the industry. And in some cases, it broadened their perspective so that they were able to perhaps move into a different role, such as marketing, and develop their career in that way. It also helps people develop their entrepreneurship skills, and we have a number of students currently who are either opening their own business or considering it.
Very good. That's really good to hear. It's excellent. And Teresa, of course, some important information about the duration of the programme, but also the fees that are associated with studying on the programme.
That's right. Well, we have 2 options. We have the full-time programme and the part-time programme. On the full-time programme, the students will come to us in September, and they'll complete their modules, the taught modules, up until May time, and then they do the project over the summer. And then they'll hopefully graduate with Queen's University at Christmas time of that year. So it takes about 1 full year basically to do that programme. The part-time students now, they do the same work, the same modules, but it's spread out over a longer period. So it's a 3-year programme. And the very good news is the fees for the programme. The full-time fees are £485 per year, and the part-time fees are £240 per year.
Very good. Teresa, thanks very much for that. We're going to come back to you later on during the event, Teresa, to find out a little bit more information as well about the programme, but thanks for now. So some really useful information there from Teresa. Some of the things that stood out for me there were the types of the content of the programme itself and how relevant it is to those who are working within the agri-food and rural business sectors. Those who are seeking positions of leadership and management, well, this programme really helps you to succeed in those particular positions as well. And of course, the part-time and the full-time options that are there, so there's flexible opportunities for everyone wanting to come and study on the programme. And of course, you did hear it, Teresa told us about the fees for the programme, so it's £485 for the full-time option and then £240 per year for the part-time option. So thanks very much for Teresa for all of that information. We're now going to hear from 2 of our current students, and Catherine McKenna is one of our full-time students on the Business for Agri-Food and Rural Enterprise Masters programme, and Catherine's recorded a short video for us, as has Seamus Barr, and Seamus is one of our part-time students. So I hope you enjoy this short video, and we'll see you soon.
Hello, I'm Catherine McKenna and I'm doing the Masters course for the Agri-Food business at Caffrey in Cookstown Loughery campus. I chose the Masters course because I'd grew up on a farm, I'd studied STEM related subjects, and then I moved to university in Scotland to do chemistry. And after university I was thinking of doing the Masters, but then I decided to do 2 years in food industry, or food and drink industry in Scotland, and then I decided to move home to Northern Ireland, and as a route to getting into the agri-food industry in Northern Ireland I thought of doing the Masters, and it was a great opportunity to kind of build the connections and the networking with the university or with the industry. I'm currently in the full-time course and I hope to finish up in September now. And it's been a crazy year with the pandemic and things, but it's been actually really enjoyable, and doing the kind of blended learning has been very enjoyable and easy to meet people and kind of to socialise with people as well. And it was great to meet all the different backgrounds of people on the course, and it was funny to see the different areas that people came from. Like, it's not just agriculture, it's not just food, it's science, it's travel and different things. So the modules I really enjoyed on the course were, in particular, the change management programs and the rural business dynamics, where we got to look at admin problems and HR problems and how to like rectify them. The change management one was really interesting, in particular because we have an organic farm, so I used that as an example how we converted from conventional to organic. So I'm currently doing my thesis at the minute, and I'm doing it on kind of how farmers acquire information and how they use that information to then make decisions, business decisions in particular. And then hopefully once I get all the thesis done up in September, I'll hope to graduate in Queen's in December. So the course has given me the confidence to look at potentially going into the agri-food industry and looking at maybe doing my own business, where maybe developing the organic farm here and opening doors for agri-food opportunities within agriculture as well as food and the drink industry in Northern Ireland.
My name is Seamus Barr. I'm a part-time student on the MSc and Masters programme. I progressed from studying the Graduate Certificate in Business Communications, and I'm delighted to share with you today my experiences so far. I've just completed 3 years of part-time study, and I'm enjoying it very much. What attracted me to the programme initially was the part-time nature and location on the Loughry campus. With the part-time nature of the programme, it was very easy to fit it around work-life commitments. Also, the modules on the course are very apt and fitting towards my work and professional life. The highlights of the course for me so far have been the marketing and communications aspects, especially those around social media. The staff at CAFRE have been very, very supportive and very helpful, especially during the pandemic year. And also with the resources of Queen's University around the library and the Canvas portal, makes it very easy to research as well. If you're considering part-time study and you're sitting on the fence, I would highly recommend this course to you. If, like me, you have grey hair and mature years, it certainly is worthwhile considering and worthwhile taking the plunge to study.
Welcome back, and thanks to Catherine and Seamus for recording those videos. For me, it was really great to hear from Catherine that she's already using the skills that she's developed in change management and rural business dynamics on the family farm at home, their organic farm. And it's also really heartening to hear that, you know, Catherine's confidence to work at the highest levels in the agri-food industry has been developed by her engagement in this particular programme. And it's also really interesting as well that Catherine comes to the programme from a wider span of degree subjects with her background. And that's a really important point as well, that the breadth of scope that there is for entry onto the programme is there. Seamus's video was very, very insightful, I thought, you know, as particular encouragement for those of whatever stage they find themselves at in their career to consider postgraduate study. It's a really, really valid point. And it's really clear that he's also enjoyed the particular skills that he's developed on marketing and also the communications aspects of the programme. And they're helping him both personally and also through his professional life as well. So, as I say, thanks very much to both Catherine and Seamus for that. We're going to now return to a bit of a chat with Teresa to find out a little bit more detail about the content of the Masters programme itself. So, Teresa, I wonder, I mentioned there just the content of the programme. Could you tell us a little bit more about the programme itself and the main themes that are contained within it, please?
Yes, indeed. The main themes we mentioned earlier are really to do with communication, management skills, developing leadership. So just to give you a flavour, one of the modules looks very much at personal and business communication, and we consider interpersonal skills and how important they are in the workplace, and business communication skills, and then marketing comes into that module as well. Mm-hmm. And the students in that module actually did a digital marketing assignment this year. We also look at business dynamics, which looks at organisational behaviour, really the role of key players in the management team, how they lead staff, how they motivate staff. and students learn from that and learn from each other. We also look at change management, how you implement and evaluate change management programs. And training is very important. To get the best out of your staff, you really have to have some training and development in the workplace. So one of the modules looks at how students can become better facilitators and develop their skills in designing and delivering training sessions. And that's a very active session also, where they can deliver that training in their own workplace. And a student has actually told me recently, a graduate, that they've used their teaching that they've learned over the last 6 modules in their workplace. Almost every module was relevant to them in developing their skills in the workplace. So that's very good to hear.
That's really great to hear, you know, and what you've told us there, it's very clear how relevant they are to positions of leadership and management within the sectors that we're talking about tonight. So that's really good. You talked about the modules there. So Teresa, how do those themes and those modules, how do they stack up then along with the research project to combine to create the master's qualification itself?
Well, I picked out a couple of modules there already, but you actually do 6 modules on the programme. It's a taught master, so there were 6 taught modules, and then you also do a research project. And you get to choose the topic of your research project to some extent yourself, as long as it's within the theme of Agri-food and Rural Enterprise. So there's 5 of the modules are core modules, and one's an optional module where you get an element of choice.
Very good, very good. And we talked earlier about part-time and full-time study modes. So what can a student on the part-time or full-time programme, what can they expect in terms of the amount of time on campus or the amount of time in lectures or self-directed learning and study?
Right, so I'll take the full-time students first of all. They're normally on campus here at Loughry in Cookstown on the Monday and the Tuesday, and also on the Wednesday for tutorials. On the Wednesday afternoons, they've got free time, so they can make the best use of our sporting facilities here at Loughry or at Queen's if they so wish, and mix with other students. On the Thursday and the Friday, they've got free time to do their self-directed learning and to undertake their assignment work. And the class size is quite relatively small for a master's programme, so there's plenty of opportunities for them to get to know each other on the programme. The part-time students come into the campus here on a Thursday evening between 7 and 9 o'clock each week. And they meet other part-time students, and they're taught then the taught modules. This year, we've had to move online due to the COVID crisis. So we've been using the virtual learning environment, the Queen's, VLE, and our Microsoft Teams. And we've managed very well. The students have engaged very well with that and contributed really well to the lessons. And their achievement has been very, very good, and we're very pleased with the success of the students this year.
Very good. And the teaching on the programme then, Teresa, I mean, what type of learning activities are there, and how does assessment of the programme, how does it work then during the period of study?
All right, so we try to keep the learning and the assessment as active as we can and use a whole range of different assignment techniques. So the students will develop some audiovisual skills when they're on the programme, make use of those in their assignments. There'll be an element of group work. We mentioned that digital marketing assignment, and that's a group assignment where they'll get together to complete a project. At this level, they've got a lot of experience and maturity. So there's quite a lot of reflective learning, and that just means learning from your past experience. And the students learn a lot from each other and sharing that experience. There's quite a lot of links to the workplace, and we use a lot of outside speakers to deliver specialist elements of the programme. And the best news perhaps for some students is that it's assessed all by coursework. There are no exams on the programme. And we have a very supportive team of staff who really trying to get the best out of the students so that they achieve well on the programme.
Very good, that's great to hear. And finally for now, Teresa, where can people who are joining us tonight, where can they go to find out more information?
Well, the best place probably to go is the CAFRE website, but there's also information on the Queen's University website as well. So either of those 2 places.
Very good, Teresa, thanks very much. We're going to come back to Teresa later on during the event, particularly to talk about entrance and eligibility requirements, but we're also going to deal with some of the questions and queries that have been submitted as well. And remember, just at this point, give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying the event and let us know that you've tuned in. Teresa made a couple of really important points there about the content of the programme and how relevant it is to those who are looking for a career operating at the highest level within the agri-food and rural business sectors. And those who are striving for leadership and management positions, well, this Masters can provide you with the skills and expertise that you require. But she also talked about, the expertise that we've developed, for example, in blended learning and making the most of face-to-face teaching combined with the best elements of virtual and remote teaching as well. So lots there to take in, and we'll come back to Teresa, as I say, later on. We're now going to listen and watch a short video that's been recorded by one of our graduates from the programme. So Lucy Hood is a recent graduate from our Masters in Business for Agri-food and Rural Enterprise. So I hope you enjoy Lucy's short video. Thank you.
My name is Lucy Hood and I'm a Masters graduate from the Business for Agri-food and Rural Enterprise programme, of how the course helped me and helped my career progression over the last few years. I studied the course part-time over 3 years. So I am an area sales manager for Cursia UK. So I look after the pig and poultry division across Ireland, both north and south. The job has really helped, or the course has really helped my job in that I do a lot of different communication styles with farmers, senior management, wash teams on farms, and I do a lot of training and knowledge transfer within my job. I have also taken an interest in marketing through doing the course, so I'm hopefully going to be progressing my skills in that field in the next few months as well. The course itself was really good. I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of people from very different backgrounds within my course. So we have people from food, people from agriculture, people from small businesses, and I think everyone gained something different out of it. I don't think anyone went in with the same sort of expectations, and we're all looking to gain something different from it. The course leaders, the course tutors were really helpful, particularly during my dissertation. They were always on hand to answer any questions that you did need. So the link with Queen's was also really good. It meant you got the best of both worlds. So you got the study facilities here at Caffrey, and you got the facilities within the Queen's campus in Belfast as well. If you're thinking about doing the course and you're on the fence, I would just say go for it. It's really useful, and if it helps your job as much as it has helped mine, it'll be well worth your time.
Thanks to Lucy for recording that video. It's really good to hear that Lucy's already using her skills developed in the programme in the workplace. That's absolutely fantastic, and that's what we would hope would happen. She also refers to the link between Queen's and Caffrey, and that's something that we hope really comes across as well in the students' experience while they're with us. And it's great to hear that Lucy was very appreciative of the support provided to her by the very experienced staff team that we have here at Loughry campus as well. So a great reflection there from one of our recent graduates, Lucy Hood, and thanks again to Lucy for recording that. Continuing in that particular theme, I'd now like to introduce Connor Field. And Connor is a current student, full-time student on the programme, and we're going to talk to Connor about his experience of the programme to date. Connor, thanks very much for joining us this evening here live from Loughry campus. I wonder, Connor, the first thing I'm interested to find out about is, what attracted you to study on this particular master's programme?
What attracted me, I think, in particular, was the sort of emphasis on the communication and leadership on the course. Being involved in the industry itself, I know that this is definitely like key criteria that you need to have, and it's really essential for career progression.
And that's a really good point, Connor, because that's something that we're really trying to provide to our graduates from the programme, so that they've got those skills, to strive in the experience. Is there anything in the programme that you've really enjoyed so far? Anything that really stands out? A module that you've really felt attracted to?
Yeah, definitely the digital marketing stands out for me. It was a group-led module, and learning from each other and developing a project really sort of gives you a good, as I say, that criteria that you need. It sort of tests those abilities like leadership and communication, and overall it was very enjoyable.
Really good to hear. And I mean, it's been a challenging year for all of us that are involved in education. And what's been your experience then, where we had to dip in and out of remote delivery? So how have you found the whole thing?
Look, it was tough at the start. I'm not going to lie, but with the support of the staff and the lecturing, I mean, it was amazing, and we've got the ball rolling, and I'm just ready now to start my research project.
Very good. So the research project, it's a really important aspect of the master's qualification. So can you tell us a little bit about what you've planned for your research project?
Yeah, so I'm basically looking in at the diabetes in the food industry. It's quite close to home. I have a brother who's type 1 diabetic, and really given the wealth and the breadth of knowledge that we have on the campus here at Caffrey has sort of allowed the flexibility for me to dive into this subject and really just get my teeth into it. So
that's really good. And I mean, that's an important point that you've raised, because at Caffrey's Loughry campus, we have the expertise, and all of the knowledge on tap, for students that are engaging in research in agri-food or rural enterprise as well. So that's an important point. And in terms of next steps, Conor, once you get the master's under the belt, where do you see your career growing? What's the next kind of step for you?
I'm not too sure, but what I definitely do know is that the master's has given me the tools to either start it myself or go into industry.
Very good. So a couple of options there. Teresa had spoken earlier on about the entrepreneurial aspect of it. So starting your own business is potentially an opportunity for you, but equally so then maybe direct entry into the industry. And finally, Conor, before we move on, would you have any advice for those who are joining us tonight on this live event? What advice would you give to them?
I would say definitely get signed up, guys. It's an amazing course. You'll absolutely have no regrets with it.
Very good. Conor, thanks very much for joining us tonight and your really valued insight into his own personal experience of the programme itself. And a couple of really useful points there that Conor has raised in terms of, the blended learning, where we've been taking the best of all of the knowledge and platforms for blended learning, but also applying that with all of the relevant expertise and knowledge that we have for some really insightful research at master's level into agri-food and rural enterprise. So thanks again to Conor for joining us tonight. Thank you. The link that we have with Queen's University Belfast is through the School of Biological Science. It's a really important relationship that has been developed over 5 decades. And we're really pleased now to introduce a short video that's been recorded by our university coordinator link. And that person is Dr. Katerina Theodorodou. And Katerina's recorded a short video that really sets out that very special relationship between Caffrey and Queen's University Belfast.
My name is Dr. Katerina Theodorodou and I'm the Program Director at Queen's University Belfast for the Business for Agri-food and Rural Enterprise programs, teaching through a collaborative provision by the College of Agriculture, Food and Rural Enterprise at Loughry campus. In close and great collaboration with Caffrey and Loughry campus, we ensure the delivery of high-quality learning opportunities for students on that programs. All the students, they have full access to Queen's facilities, including libraries, learning resources, sports and recreational facilities. Also, students have access to Queen's Student Guidance Center and Graduate School, which provide the learning development settings and career service. Also, other services that students have access, including disability service, healthcare service. Queen's offers also a pastoral care support, offering a range of activities. Please feel free to contact us if you have any further questions about our programs.
Thanks to Katerina and also to Queen's for that short video that I think really helps to set the context of the relationship that we've developed over 5 decades in terms of the delivery of this particular programme, the long-standing expertise that we have here at Caffrey in terms of business communication and business for agri-food and rural enterprise, but also the support that Queen's provide to this in terms of the resources for students, student support, but also the facilities that are available to students who are registered in this programme and access to the fantastic resources, for example, up at the School of Biological Sciences and also the library at Queen's as well, and of course the library at Caffrey. So thanks very much to Queen's for that. We're approaching almost the end of our event, but I would now like to bring back in Teresa for a couple of more questions. One point that we want to cover is that of the eligibility and entrance requirements for the programme, and then we're going to deal with a couple of queries that have been submitted live to the event tonight. So Teresa, thanks very much for joining us again. A really important point is that of the entrance and eligibility requirements onto the programme. So could you tell us a little bit more about those?
Yeah, it's a postgraduate program. So normally for the master's level, you would need to have an honours degree. But you can get entry with a pass degree if you have other qualifications or experience. So the best thing to do is, if you're not quite sure about your entry qualifications, if you meet them or not, is just contact us and we'll talk you through it and see how best you can go ahead with your application.
Yeah, that's a really important point in terms of make contact with CAFRE and we can talk through the various options that are available to you. So that's really good to know. We've received a query that's come in, Teresa, and it relates to a point that Connor raised about, his experience of blended learning. So, and you had talked about earlier on the virtual learning environment that's provided through Queen's. So, can you tell us a little bit more about what we've done to adapt over the last year and how we've taken the best of that through to the delivery of the programme, and maybe a little bit as well about maybe looking into the future if at all possible?
Yes, well, we've had to adapt very rapidly, I suppose, in the last year with one thing and another, but we've basically moved all our teaching sessions online, so there's live online delivery of those. So that allows us to have group work with the students and they can still interact with each other on Microsoft Teams. We've also backed all that up with resources on the virtual learning environment, the Queen's Campus programme, or VLE. And basically, students have been able to engage and get recordings of any sessions they might have missed, which is very important for them as well. So it's worked relatively well. It's not the same as being on campus, obviously, but students have enjoyed it as best they can, and staff have delivered to a very high standard, as I said, to get good achievement this year.
And looking forward to the future, Teresa, do you see any prospect for maybe blended along with face-to-face in the future?
It's hard to know, I suppose, that you need a crystal ball, but we're very much hoping that we'll have more face-to-face delivery in the next academic year, and we'll be aiming to have as much face-to-face delivery as possible within the social distancing guidelines. So Queen's University have also indicated that that's their preferred mode of operation going forward. So we're very much hoping that we'll have more face-to-face delivery in the next academic year.
That's really good. And I suppose an important point to note as well is that despite all of the challenges that we've experienced over the last year, there's been no interruption whatsoever to the delivery of this programme. And students have continued right the way through, isn't that the case?
That's right. We managed to continue the delivery right the whole way through. All the assessments were completed on time and there's been no issues in that regard.
And I think that is testimony to the special relationship that we have with Queen's on the delivery of the programme and support that we have for that remote delivery element of it. Teresa, another query that has come in relates to, some people perhaps start on their master's programme and then find that it can be quite challenging to balance that commitment to further study with other life commitments or career opportunities that come along. So is there flexibility for people that maybe experience those challenges during their time of study?
Yes, indeed. This can happen to any student, full-time or part-time. It's perhaps more common in the part-time. It's very difficult to balance the work-home life balance, if you like. And all the staff who teach on the programme have experience of this because we've all undertaken part-time qualifications whilst we were working. So there's quite a lot of sympathy there. But Queen's have procedures in place to give short-term access to people who want a leave of absence, for example, if you want to take some time off the programme and return to continue it later on. But also what we have is very useful is exit qualifications. So say, for example, you complete the first 3 modules, that could be the first year of the part-time programme, but at that stage you have actually achieved a postgraduate certificate and you can leave with that qualification. If you've completed all the taught modules, well, that's a postgraduate diploma. And then the master's research project brings that up to a master's qualification.
Very good, very good. And finally, Teresa, for now, a very important point is how to go about making an application and where to access all of that additional information should you require it.
Well, first of all, to make the application, it's a Queen's programme, so we need to apply through the Queen's process. So if you just search online for Apply QUB, and that will bring you to the application portal for Queen's University. Just remember, it's part of the Biological Sciences group of programmes, so you'll need to remember that when you're doing the application process. And you can get information on the programme at CAFRE website or the Queen's website if you need any more information.
Very good. Teresa, thanks very much for that. And thanks to Teresa and Connor and all of our contributors tonight. I think we've we've maybe explained in quite a bit of detail, you know, the programme, the benefits of the programme and the difference that it can make to your career trajectory. So really some insightful and excellent videos and contributions from everybody involved. So maybe in summary, it's useful just to cap up. If you're interested in progressing your career within the agri-food and rural enterprise sectors, and you're interested maybe in taking your study to the next level through a master's, well then you should really seriously consider inquiring and finding out more information about our Masters in Business for Agri-Food and Rural Enterprise. As we talked about earlier on, it'll provide you with the skills and expertise required for success and leadership and management within those particular sectors. And those sectors are something where CAFRE has accrued significant knowledge and experience over the last 50 years through our collaborative arrangement that we have with Queen's University Belfast. There are options for part-time and full-time study, and the fees for part-time study are £240 per year, and it's £485 a year for full-time study. Our graduates feed back to us that they find that the programme makes a significant beneficial impact to their careers, and we've heard that tonight through some of the testimonials and some of the stories that our graduates have told us. And if you're interested, do please get in touch and do please make an application. If you want to review our event again, it will be put up on the CAFRE website, so you can go back onto the website and review the event and watch it in your own time again. But please, it's important to emphasise, if you have any questions or queries, do get in touch and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions or queries that you have. So that's it for now. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's event. Do consider the programme seriously. Making the decision to study on this programme at CAFRE, it could be one of the best decisions you'll ever make. But for now, thank you for joining us. Good evening and goodbye.